Excuse me, it's 6 o'clock. I will call the meeting of, I guess this is now February 12th of the Harwich Finance Committee to order. Let's do a roll call of the people of the members of the committee that we have present. Let's start with the table.
Michelle Bellucci.
Peter Hughes.
Mark Amaras.
Tina Gaines.
Bob McCready, and then by remote we have
Dana DeCosta.
Dana DeCosta, Scott
Norum.
Norum, and Mark
Peterson.
Peterson. Thank you very much.
Mark's a former Target executive, Target like the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, we have present Jennifer Mintz, our town accountant, Jay McGrail, sorry, excuse me, our new town administrator, and Eric Beebe,
You got it.
the
Finance,
Director of Recs and Youth,
You got it.
Finance Director, just for the record.
Finance Director, and town accountant.
That's correct.
Well, okay, but
All
what
the
else?
things.
Amongst
Yeah.
all hats, well, all those hats that job has been given. Okay. Having done that, we have planned and announced to have public hearings this evening, and to be able to open them, I will turn to Mr. Hughes to read the announcement.
Harwich Finance Committee notice of public hearing, fiscal 2027 capital outlay plan and fiscal 2027 budget. Pursuant to Chapter 9, Section 7 of the Town of Harwich Charter, the Finance Committee will hold a public hearing Thursday, February 12th, 2026, no earlier than 6 p.m. for the purpose of reviewing and adopting the fiscal year 2027 capital outlay plan and fiscal year 2027 budget. Copies of the plan will be available on the town website. All members of the public having an interest in this topic are cordially invited to attend. Meeting will be held at Harwich Town Hall, 732 Main Street, Harwich, Massachusetts, 02645, in the small hearing room on the second floor.
And having done so, I will open the public hearing. And we set the order for the public hearing to first deal with capital outlay plan. I did ask Michelle, as one of our two members, direct members of the capital outlay committee, the other one being Scott Norum, to make a few comments concerning the plan. If you would, please.
Okay, I'll do my best to kind of give a brief overview of the work that we've done on the Capital Outlay Committee. Just so everybody knows, the Capital Outlay Committee consists of two individuals from the Finance Committee, representatives, one from the Planning Board. So it's me and Scott Norum from Finance, and Clark Tucker from the Planning Board. Then we have two designees from the Town Administrator Office, which is Richard Larios and Paul Dwayne, I can never pronounce the last name. And then, of course, Martha Donovan's our chair. And so since Martha is not here tonight, I talked to her about just giving you guys a quick overview of the process that we went through in terms of reviewing the capital outlay plan and budget. So just so you know, we started our meetings back in August, but most of those meetings pertained to the charter language. So we did a number of iterations around how we wanted the charter language to be. As you know, we have the charter committee ongoing, and important in that was how we worked with the town administrator to put the plan together. It's really the town administrator's plan, so the department heads go to the town administrator, they have their summary pages of what they're asking for, and they present them to the town administrator, who our acting town administrator has been Tony Schiavi, who just finished up, and then he works with us. So all our meetings included Tony, and we met from October 22nd to December 22nd on a weekly basis, every Wednesday for a couple hours. and we invited the department heads to come in and present their requests. So they requested for the current fiscal year 27 budget, capital plan budget, and then 4 additional years, which are planned. The whole plan is 5 years. So we went through, we asked questions, and then ultimately we voted on the capital outlay budget, and we voted on every single article or, request. And we also voted on the capital outlay plan for fiscal year 28, 29, 30, and 31. All were approved. All of them were approved. We only had one which had to do with a rezoning project that a couple of people voted no. I was one of them. Paul and I voted no on that one, and we could talk about that if you're interested. We review the funding, but we do not vote on it. So as you know, all the money for fiscal year 27 requests comes from somewhere, and you'll see that in the budget. We don't vote on that though. And then of course part of our work includes off-site visits. So we try to get out there and actually see the departments and the operations. That helps educate us. So this year we visited the Harwich Elementary School and the DPW.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm not sure, do any of the three of you feel like you're representing the public or simply representing the town?
I look at your.
I just want to clarify to understand.
Yeah, the town.
I would, for the record, just make sure that
Pardon?
I would, for the record, just make sure we get them into as being here and noting that unfortunately no one from the public apparently is here.
Oh, yeah.
Judy will get that from what I just said, so, yeah.
Okay.
In case, Judy, in case it didn't get recorded,
Judy is
there are three people here that are here for town reasons and represent the town, and there are no members of the general public either here physically or on remote.
May I just
Yes.
make one more comment?
Yes.
Which I forgot to make.
You
So,
can make as many more as you'd like to.
so I did touch base with Martha before this meeting to make sure that I was up to speed on anything that had developed in the meantime. And apparently there were 2 additional projects added to the capital plan. And I think they are in the latest version.
They are, and the
Okay.
latest version has been posted to the town website.
Okay, so just in quick summary of those projects, one is a harbor project for $350,000. Apparently there was some damage that occurred. I'm just paraphrasing here based on what she has given me. And she stated that it's more of a dredging repair. And so that was one of them. And then the second one was a select board project with the chair of the planning committee to work with a consultant to update the zoning rules. She thinks that's what that consists of, and it has to do with paying a consultant, but some of those monies may be, there may be grants to apply to that. So those were projects that were added after we kind of did our sign off. Okay.
Mr.
Okay,
Chair,
great. Yes,
I think there may be also one other proposed change coming up where the roof at the community center we may move to FY '28 as well.
Okay.
So just for clarification, on this plan we have in front of us, I think on the first page for the capital plan, what you just described at the harbor, is it in Saquatucket Marina bulkhead repair or annual dredging at the harbor or something different?
Something like
It's
that.
different.
It's
It's
neither of those two.
So it's a new line now. It'd be an added line.
So this is,
Is it stated?
I don't know, I didn't see, I don't have my.
The plan that I have in front of me did not include those 2 new projects.
I do have the current
Emergency
printout.
bulkhead?
That's it, that's
Okay.
it right there.
All right, so it is in here. It's
Yeah, and
called
then the form-based code one
emergency
is on here as
bulkhead
well.
dredging.
The form-based code is under planning
Yes, it is.
department,
You're right.
25.
Just to be clear.
Yes.
Yes,
Saquatucket
Is that
Marina
this
Emergency
one?
Bulkhead Dredging.
Yes, okay.
Is the
Not
project.
that one, no. Or, wait, what did you say?
Saquatucket Marina Emergency Bulkhead
Yeah.
That is
Dredging,
correct.
350,000 in 2027.
350,000.
Yeah.
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
And on the following page, the planning for transition to the adoption of form-based code for one, that's the second one.
Exactly, that's the other one that we have as a matter of record.
Okay.
Um,
And could we also be clear, there was a joint meeting between the Board of Selectmen, the Finance Committee, and the Capital Outlay Committee. I forget the date.
December 22nd, I
Okay, we
believe.
did get together, all of us, and went through this, at least had the presentation.
That's exactly right. Martha Donovan did an excellent presentation of the
Yeah.
plan and budget at the time.
Okay.
Okay, I think I will move on. I think we are just treating this as being one hearing, open hearing, and we'll move on to to make a few comments with regard to the budget before.
So Bob, I just stated that on the capital plan, there's a committee, we're gonna take it up in a subsequent meeting, identifying funding sources and, as we go forward, so,
Those are in there as well.
so you recommend the
The
funding.
recommended
So
funds.
we'll work through that as a committee.
Exactly. The funding, and some of the funding is, I think, still listed as to be determined, potentially speculative, whatever, at the moment. What I did notice was that the two additions, neither one of them was treated as a free cash funded item. So the free cash component related to capital projects at the moment is the same as it has been since the capital plan came out. Okay, moving along to the budget. We're working with the budget that was presented, and at least as of this point in time, hasn't changed from the one that is listed on the town website and was presented to the select board in January, and that the select board did vote to forward to the finance committee. That budget does for interested parties, from a revenue commentary standpoint, the revenue of the town is particularly related to Proposition 2.5, and the ability that limits the ability to raise the amount of property taxes that the town can raise. The calculation that's done and put forth by the town administration this year has in fact the budget utilizing all but $92,000 at the moment of 100% of the legal levy cap that the town can raise. That's at some $64 million and change. Additional estimates included in the budget, and I say estimates because there are a number of things that the town will continue to get firmed up from various sources, including third-party sources during the course of the next number of weeks. Includes state aid and in its various forms, includes estimates of what local receipts in a whole litany of ways. That includes things like room tax, motor vehicle excise tax, waste fees, recreation fees. There is quite a number. Again, these are available on the town website of the list of things that make up local receipts. And other revenue sources which tend to come from various town funds also. I believe a listing of those estimated numbers for budgetary purposes are included. That ends up being a total revenue for the town, as identified in the budget, of $86,612,944. In moving to budgeted expenses, the town administration gathers from all the departments, their inputs of what they would like to have as their budgets for the year, spends time with those departments in evaluating and negotiating, I would guess, what in fact they want to think is a appropriate budget for each one of the departments. As you can expect, in most cases, the primary expense that the town incurs is for salary and wages. There were a significant number, if not all, I'm not completely sure, but I think all of the union contracts had to be renegotiated this year or negotiated this year. And at the time the budget was done, all but one, I believe, had been negotiated and so could be clearly included in the budget. As I understand it, that last negotiation has finished and been agreed to recently. The compendium of that, which is in detail, again, available on the town website, is some $33,720,000 and change. The included point for the time, anyway, is that the included budgetary item for the Monomoy Regional School District for Harwich's allocation assessment of the region's costs for this budget is $34,734,897, which is itself, well, the total budget for the school system included at the time is an increase of some 7+%. The increase in Harwich's from last year is almost 8.5%. But and that's based on the budget, though, that was used is assuming only 4+%. So we at the moment have a gap between what the budget is using and what the region's preliminary budget of their own is of some consequence.
Mr. Chair, if I may?
Yes, please.
So first point to that.
This is Jennifer Mintz speaking.
So first point to that, I've been in close communication with them, obviously, on this. One, the Cape Cod Municipal Health Group met, we voted on health insurance rates. That final settled out at 8%. Monomoy had 15% in their budget. So there's a material savings there that's gonna bring that number down some.
Great.
We're still probably about only halfway there. That being said, we are working together. They're very committed. I sat down with Michael McMillan yesterday, or day before yesterday, and they've got every pencil to every piece of paper to try and to get to where we need to be. So we're going to continue to work together to try to make that happen and figure out, how to make this work. But some of that work's already been done.
That's terrific. Again, the town currently is using an increase of a little over 4% as its school.
For the school.
For the school.
It's 4 and change, yeah.
Right, for the school.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
The current estimates, again, in the budget for town contributions to the various employee retirement plans and outside assessments is a little over $13 million. Current debt service included is $4,412,000 and change dollars, and the current use for transfers out, meaning funds that the town needs to provide to other parts of the operations here, is of $554,000 and change. To get to that same total number of budgeted expenditures of $86,612,944, which is overall an increase of expenditure budget of a 4.58% increase for the year. This does, the budget detail, if one goes through, probably the two items that may jump out at people, and so I will comment on for people that may be looking and then going back to the details. There have been some changes in treatment done between prior years and this year with regard to expenditures that are or are not included in the operating budget. And I think the two that are probably most easily noticed for people are one, town dredging expense, which last year was in the budget, this year is not in the budget, and is in the capital plan and being funded with free cash, I believe. The other one is the preschool subsidy program, which, again, the last 2 years, I guess, the time that it has been in place, has also been a budgeted item and is now going to be a separate article about it. And so does in fact show up as, it's big enough to show up as a year-to-year variance of expense in the budget and make that attention. For the sake of making note, the total free cash as was certified, I believe, is $3,995,105. And just so that people are aware, while there's an increase in cost of the town in the budget from year to year, that for all intents and purposes, the employee count on an FTE basis is almost zero change. People do need to understand that costs do increase, even though we're not necessarily adding staff to the town. And I think I will stop my little spiel there. And Michelle had a comment that she wanted to make?
No, just a question. The preschool subsidy.
Yeah.
It's 220, am I reading this right? Is that 220? 220,000?
Yes, that's what's in here for the current year, in this first look at use of free cash.
So the first year it was funded at
250,
250, right?
yeah.
So they cut it back a little bit?
I haven't had any feedback about how many people applied and what the,
Okay.
basically the way it ran at least the first year or two was they put out a notice, people would apply, and then I think what they did was divide the number they had by how many people they had, and that's, or how many kids they had, and they said, okay, we can give you a stipend or whatever it is of $4,000 or $4,500 or whatever it was to be applied to daycare. And so this may just be a plug number, I don't know.
Okay.
But it's the number currently being included. And in that list that you're looking at, the identified as of this list, identified total uses of free cash is identified as $3,464,000 and change against that $3,995,000, and still leaves a little over $500,000 of uncommitted free cash.
So mine's a little different.
But
Mine is 3577785.
There were
What are
a
you
couple of
looking at?
changes to the printed
Oh.
version
Oh,
that came about from, you're referencing numbers that were the original presentation to the select board.
Yep.
And then there were some changes along that way that are in
it's
your
in
book.
here? Okay.
Yes.
Slightly
So
changed.
everything in
Oh,
here
okay.
is up to
The
Is-
book is the
So
Bible.
this is current.
The
That's
book
correct.
is the
Yeah.
book is the Bible at the moment.
There will be some more changes coming
Well,
along
that-
here in the near
that-
term,
That's right.
but
The-
yes.
Okay.
there'll-
Send us
This
the
this
sheets.
is
Yep,
a
we
list
will.
that existed at the time the presentation, that is, the standing presentation was made to the,
To the select board, correct.
Right.
Bob, could I also
so yes,
ask,
don't start going through your budget books and seeing if there's any differences between the.
Oh, I didn't know.
And what.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we brought these tonight for you guys,
What-
but this is the most Jen worked
Got it.
recently
Thank
in
you
the last
very
couple
much.
days.
What the books
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
say.
Great.
could I just ask,
Yes,
is there
sir.
a number when people ask us what
Yes.
was sort of the general salary and wage increase through the negotiations? 5%, 2%, 3%, whatever it was.
I think we're using 4%? Let me see, oh, that was used in the budgets. Budget.
Just somewhere around
Collective
people at
bargaining
Stop and Shop, we
increases,
can say,
seven,
yeah.
7 of the 8 unions have settled, and it says that they're just that implied in the sheet that I have from, again, from the original presentation, 3%.
I can talk to Tony and let you guys know the answer
Yeah,
to that.
just,
Okay,
I'm not sure if
I
that's.
believe it's 4% too, but before I
Yeah,
confirm it, I'll talk to
For some
Tony.
reason, 4%
just
sticks
somewhere
in
around
my
the
mind.
people at, you know, Stop and Shop.
I'll
have that for
whatever
next
it
week.
is, you know.
May I ask a question?
You may ask
So,
a question.
This is a bit of a newbie question, but with all these contracts that have been negotiated, is this unusual for so many at the same time? Are they typically staggered?
So, go ahead. You
I
go.
would say that it's different in every community. You know, where I've been working in Middleborough, it's the same as Harwich, where they're all stacked at the same time. So from what I've been told in Harwich, it's not different. You know, they do them together every number of years. And there's positives and negatives to that. Like the positive is that you're working with one set of ground rules to get through all of the collective bargaining together. So it kind of helps in that instance. The downside is it's absolute chaos
Yeah.
for, you know, a 6 to 8 month period. The other positive is once you get past the chaos, you put it to bed for, you know, 2.5 years. So it's not abnormal, but it's not like that everywhere.
Okay.
And I think I
Alright.
heard Tony comment to that effect, that it certainly has an impact on the process of generating the budget,
It does.
to be simultaneously having to do all of this
Yeah.
additional negotiation before you have good information for your
It does
budget.
give you certainty once you have these things, so.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Once-
just
once you-
chaos
Once
for
you
six
get there.
months.
Same with the medical number, once you have that.
Okay.
And I'll get back to you next week on that. No problem.
Scott has his hand raised. by the
Yes.
way.
But-
I just wanted to
Thank you.
oh, go ahead.
So I hear there's a budget book in the room, is that?
Yes, and it's a gift for those of us that are in person.
Jealous.
Oh darn.
Jealous.
Is it available electronically?
Let-
Yeah,
let's-
I
let-
can make it available electronically.
Let's
Thank you.
finish the hearing before we go on to anything else.
I was just going to comment that these books look excellent.
Yeah,
So
they are.
thank you.
Good job, Jen.
Yeah,
Yeah, very good.
yeah.
As I was saying, let's finish the hearing. So, having made those comments, and seeing that there are in fact no public still in either venue, I will I'll take a roll call vote to close the hearing.
I would like a motion first.
Like a motion to take a roll call
Mr.
vote.
Chair, I would move that we close the public hearing.
I will second Peter's motion.
Okay. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I will take a roll call vote, and this time we'll start with Michelle again.
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Aye.
Tina, aye. Scott? Vote on closing the hearing.
Hi.
Dana?
Hi.
Mark?
Hi.
Okay, and I am an aye, so that is, I guess, 8-0 vote to close the hearing. Thank
Can I
you
just
all.
comment that it's, last year we had one person that showed up to the public hearing, that was your wife. And the year before, there was nobody. I mean, it's not, it almost defeats the purpose, you know what I mean? Although people in TV land can watch it and all that stuff, but it is kind of a shame we don't have.
Maybe we're headed in new directions.
Well, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you definitively that the only reason my spouse is not here is that every Thursday she has a conflict.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you that Jen and I's conversation is one of us will try to be at your meetings, you know. I'm gonna do as much as I can to be here, not depend on Jen to do that, but between the two of us, we're gonna try to tag team it so that you have
Good.
staff here to help
Yep.
us through this process together.
We really appreciate
Yeah,
that.
thank you.
Yeah. I think you both know we struggle with communication with,
Yeah.
you know, before.
Well, we're gonna try to improve that together as a team.
Yep.
You bet.
Good.
Okay, now, we have the item of the night, I think.
Good fun. Let me share my
Good
screen
fun,
here.
and-
I'm gonna put a presentation on that.
The item is listed in the agenda as the presentation of request to increase the spending limit for the Recreation Revolving Fund and a possible vote on that. This request has already been before the Select Board on Monday, and having been approved by then, the statute provides for the fact that an increase in a revolving fund cap can be made during the intervening time of the year by having positive votes from both the Select Board in the case of a town and the Finance Committee. So having gotten one, we have the town management here to try and convince us to get a positive vote also from the Finance Committee. And on that note, I will turn the presentation over to Jennifer Mintz, our Finance Director.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. So I want to reiterate, like I did to the Select Board at the meeting on Monday, the fantastic tool that revolving funds are when they're managed well. So I know that there have been some issues here. I know that a lot of people have a bad flavor in their mouth. I would like to say that the situation that we're currently in is a little bit different than what you've known in the past. So I ask you, if nothing else, to have an open mind about what we talk about going forward and look at it through a different lens than how you looked at how it was in the past. So why revolving funds matter? They're self-supporting programs, right? So they reduce your general fund impact, they give you flexibility to respond to demand, and they're a user-based cost recovery system. The statutory requirements of these include that at annual town meeting, the spending limit is established. It's a hard legal ceiling. Spending beyond that cap is not permitted. Cash balance does not override authorization, so meaning if they have additional cash beyond what the spending limit is, that doesn't mean they can spend it, right? That cap is a hard limit. Negative cash balances are also prohibited. So this screen, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the fund itself, how it was established, the language that established it, so on and so forth. It was established in fiscal year 11 under MGL Chapter 44, Section 53E1/2. Revolving funds have two different possibilities, 53E1/2 and 53D. They have two very different statutory requirements, limits. It was previously a 53D, and it was converted to a 53E1/2 in fiscal year 11. And it's funded by recreation and youth program fees. Its authorized purpose is limited to paying expenditures for recreation and youth programs. Town meeting sets the annual limit every year. And in fiscal year 22, there was a town meeting vote to change the authorization of all expenditures from the Recreation Director and Youth Commission to the town administrator or their designee. So I included like a big screen here of the actual language of 53E1/2. It's a lot, so I'm going to break it down for you a little bit and just talk about these two highlighted sections, which are most related to the issue at hand here. Expenditures shall not be made or liabilities incurred from any such revolving fund in excess of the fund balance or of the balance of the fund, or in excess of the total authorized expenditures from the fund. And additionally, the city or town shall, on or before July 1st of each year, vote on the limit and the total amount that may be expended from each revolving fund established under this section. In any fiscal year, the limit on the amount that may be spent from a revolving fund may be increased with the approval of the city council and mayor in a city or with the approval of the Board of Selectmen and Finance Committee in a town. This is the actual statutory, physical language of the law. The historical review that I conducted on this went back to actually the year 2000. I'm going to focus on fiscal year 13 through 25 because it's most meaningful to this kind of exercise. So the spending exceeded its authorized cap in 8 of the last 12 years with no action prior to now. 1 year ended with a negative cash balance, which was fiscal year 18, which is prohibited. And cap increases in the early years were reactive rather than planned and have been completely non-existent for the last 7 years. As I looked,
Excuse me, who is the authorized person from 2022 forward? To say the
20
town administrator.
It should have been the town
Or
administrator
designee.
or designee.
No, but who was it?
I was signing
It was
bills
still him.
in our
It
office.
went back to you.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, even though they changed it so it wasn't the recommended director.
They never changed it.
So I spoke about that a lot at the select board meeting, and I'm gonna stand by there's a slide on this a little bit later, so maybe we'll come back to
Okay,
that.
I'm just asking.
But, yeah, I have some very strong
Okay.
feelings about that.
Okay.
So here I've, marked in, as you can expect from me, an illustration, right? The 8 years in which that red line is the spending cap that was established by town meeting. Your green line is your expenditures. So in those 8 instances, the green line is bigger than the red line, which means that we were out of statutory compliance. It's honestly like they had the incoming revenue to accommodate that limit being higher. So it was really a non-exercise in raising that limit. It didn't require any additional funding from the town or from the tax rolls or anything. It just was a mechanical thing that needed to happen that didn't. So that's kind of, and fiscal year 18, you can see on there, was the 1 year where the green line's bigger than the blue line. And they did not have the reserves, if you will, the carry forward to cover that difference, so they ended with negative cash. That's also statutorily not legal. So the impact of this past practice, it creates increased audit and compliance risk. It shows weak internal controls. It shows that spending decisions were made without legal authority. Governance changes adopted in fiscal year 23 to address this by changing the authorization responsibility from the department head to town administrator or designee, but that change never took place. Expenditures were not clearly tied to the authorization purpose. And I say this because this may very well be a situation where these are not wrong that these happened. It's just from a language perspective, language matters, right? When you say that the approved spending is recreation and youth programs, and you have some spending that clearly is for facility repairs and maintenance, even if that facility repairs and maintenance is specifically for things that matter to the program, right? So they may be very substantially valid. We just need to expand the language so that it covers that, so it doesn't, auditors are gonna be all over that and ask us a million questions, right? Like, so we just should tie out that language, which we're gonna do.
So why didn't the auditors pick this up?
Yeah.
I've had
Yeah.
that conversation with them,
Yeah.
so,
And again, it's over, your presentation is over 8 years, which probably also covers.
12,
12 years covers probably different audit companies too,
yes.
I would think.
And there were specific audit reports on the revolving funds during that
Right,
time.
during that time.
Yes, so,
And when you talk about language, that also kind of making sure, because we'll come back to our 204 conversation, that we don't change the language to include things that are not supposed to be included
correct.
in a revolving fund.
right, that's correct.
Right.
So, again, I think drilling down on what that is, right, and making the language match on one side or the other,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Important piece that needs to happen with this. So the fiscal year 26 current status, the fiscal year 26 town meeting spending limit was breached, at which point that became a statutory violation and I put a hold on the account. What that means is that any additional spending in the recreation revolving fund requires this approval by the select board and the finance committee to move forward with rec programs. In the meantime, if they have any expenses, they can cover them in their general fund operating budget, which they will perhaps attempt to limit, until which time this can be sorted, because it kind of came out of nowhere. So that is something that we're here to talk about. So, yes.
Just a quick question, with this violation, like what happens? Like,
Eric goes to jail.
what'd you say?
Eric goes to jail.
Oh, that's what I wanna know, like what happens? Like what is the,
What are the
So-
consequences?
yeah, exactly, thank you.
Right, so primarily, most of this is acknowledging that we've become aware of this and putting things in place to move away from that going forward, which I'm gonna talk about in a minute.
Okay.
So I'm acknowledging that we found that this is an issue, right? Wherever the issues came from, and that's not what we're here to talk about. It's more about what we found and how we're gonna move forward in a different direction.
Fairly
Okay.
simply, like the auditors could put an audit comment
They
in our
could.
audit. You know,
Okay.
and that could get flagged by DOR, and they'll ask us about it
Okay.
when we certify free cash or go through
Okay.
the recap
That's what,
process.
okay, that's what I wanted to hear, because
But
there
that,
had
but
to be
her,
something,
her
yeah.
acknowledging this and dealing with it now will thwart that.
Okay.
So when this was going on, Eric, would you get like a monthly report or something on
Yeah.
the account?
So we do we have monthly reports. We were always aware of the cap. Unfortunately, the history is it was never enforced by prior administration. I brought this issue to administration several times. And
Okay,
we
and
said,
that's it, you don't need to go any further.
okay.
I'm okay with it.
But the fact of the matter is, I'm very happy that Jen is here to fix
Yeah, we
it
are too.
and
So-
move forward, you know, because I think the bigger our cap is, it shows how successful our programming is.
Absolutely,
So that number being bigger means we have more programs.
yeah.
And again, it's self-supporting, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's not,
Yeah.
this is not
It's
taxpayer
not a
money.
bucket of
This
money,
is,
yeah.
the users that are using the program are paying for the costs of the program.
Exactly, as
Yes.
intended by a
Yes.
revolving fund.
Which is why it's a fantastic tool, right?
When
I-
used right.
Yeah.
What's that?
When used correctly.
When used and managed correctly.
Diana has a
Yes.
question.
Yes, Dana?
I guess the comment I would add here, Sandy, you're talking about it, is that, that's been my biggest complaint about the revolving funds, is that, it's not just recreation that puts on these programs, there's a lot of other departments that contribute to making the programs happen, making the revenue come in, making the fields ready, all that kind of stuff, accounting for everything, processing everything, and none of this revenue goes into the general fund to help support this. And that's why we've talked about going the other way, reducing a lot of these funds and putting things in the budget that belong in the budget and having them paid through the operating fund. So, this right now is going in the opposite direction that I've been seeing. I don't see how the town recovers, from the rec revolving fund or the golf revolving fund or any other revolving fund, how the town recovers some of that revenue to cover expenses that the rec department doesn't cover.
I guess my only comment to that would be, that's a valid conversation to have, and I think it could play out over the next 6 months or next year as an organization together, because it's a valid point, and I don't know that it ties directly to recreation, but I can see in other revolving funds where it would. But that said, if we don't act now to address this issue in the short term, this program basically shuts down outside of the reserve fund that you guys have. That the general fund's not going to be able to support the program for the next 6 months. There's a critical gap.
I understand that part,
But I think your point's valid, Dana, and I think it deserves a larger conversation than the
And if we
immediate
have that
situation in front of us.
conversation, if we have that conversation, I think all of us on the finance committee are happy, because we want to have that conversation. We've never had it, and we've been talking about it for a couple of years. I know it's also something that Mr. Howell on the board has been talking about for years, and the conversation hasn't been had.
Yeah.
So I don't mind fixing a problem that's staring us right in the face, but
Well,
I'm going to.
I can commit to have the conversation with you, but we gotta fix the problem at hand first.
Yeah, okay.
Let's get through town meeting.
Same, I'm all
The
in too.
fiscal year.
Yeah, Jen and I will be, like we said, we're a team, the two of us, so.
And I wanna do these things right. I don't wanna do them
Yeah.
just to do them. So,
The point's
we're
valid.
marching in the same direction.
Yeah, the point's valid.
And I guess along with that, that I guess we would be counting on Jen and her department to then be, when expenses are being attempted to be charged to the revolving fund, that in fact they're being vetted as appropriate for the
They absolutely
revolving
are, and I'm gonna talk about that a little bit in the next couple of slides, so, they are, 100%. So what we're requesting tonight is for you to approve a fiscal year 26 spending limit increase to $400,000 from the current $175,000. We would use that same limit as our fiscal year 27 baseline, and this would align the authorization with the current program scale. So here what I did is I put together this is very historical looking, right? Just a 5-year trend line of future program adds based on the last 5 years of history, which shows you in fiscal 27 hitting right on that $400,000 mark that we're here asking for. To support that a little bit additionally, Eric put together a brief summary of some of the upcoming expansions that they're planning to do that will produce the money that will support the programmatic increase, that will support that, moving that from up to a $400,000 level. So the benefits of this approach, obviously, it restores our ability to operate under a legal framework. It improves transparency and planning. It reduces future compliance risk, and it supports sustainable program delivery. Going forward, and this is the important part, right? Like, where do we go from here? We obviously need to be monitoring the spending versus the cap, and proactive communication has to exist between responsible departments and finance and accounting. I shouldn't find these. They should come to me proactively and say, we're at risk of approaching our limit, but if they don't, then I need to have the tools and be doing the work that makes sure that I do catch them when they don't come to me. Munis has tools that can be implemented systematically to control these limit overspends that is not currently in place in our system. It will take me some time to roll that in. Once that's done, if anyone, anywhere, anytime enters an invoice that would breach that limit, it's a hard stop. The end, right? Without me having to check, anyone else having to check, it's a systematic hard stop. So that is coming, right? That's in process. We also need advanced planning for cap changes before the limit is breached. I mentioned that briefly. There can be no spending in a revolving fund in anticipation of an approval. So in this time where we're waiting, they cannot be spending in there. It is not lawful. So we are not. Anything they need to spend is coming out of their general fund operating budget. And then I'm also further going to require compliance with the ATM 2022 town meeting vote that the town administrator or their designee will approve all revolving fund spending prior to payment unless and until some change happens that changes that.
Question. Who currently approves a program? Like you say, if the invoice comes and we're at the cap, stop, you know. But who in the rec department is that you?
We get the invoice in our office. I review it, I sign it, we stamp it, I sign it, we send it to the finance department for their review and their final processing.
But it's already committed at that
Right.
point, right? So I'm just talking about at the commitment level because.
Oh, I see what you're,
Yeah.
when we
Yeah.
order something.
Right.
So let's talk a
Yeah.
little bit longer term, because this is something we're not gonna get to for a while, but it's gonna be a big shift for us to move there, but I see a future where we use requisitions before invoicing,
Yeah.
where all purchases are vetted before being made,
Mhm.
and then they're made when they're approved. That's a heavy lift, and that's gonna
Yeah.
take a
Got
lot
it.
of time to get there.
Yep.
Because that was my question too,
Yeah,
was
yeah.
you'd rather be having the approval before incurring the liability.
100% always.
Right.
Yes.
Because otherwise you're stuck with a vendor that has done what they
Yeah.
said they were gonna
It's a
do.
complete systematic change, it's a complete process change, townwide, right? That's something that's not gonna happen overnight. It's not gonna happen quickly, but it's something I see in my time here, that will happen.
And I think in the short term, we're gonna follow that last bullet. You know, whether
Yeah.
it's before, obviously Eric and I are gonna have to have conversations about expanding programs, so it's not a situation where I have the bill in front of me and there's no opportunity to opine on it, you
Yeah.
know, so we'll have to have a better working relationship, so we're able to make those decisions, so that when I get the bill, it's easy to sign, or
Right.
easy to acknowledge that.
It's like, oh, this is the new basketball program.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah.
And if I may, I want to add on a little bit, something that's not in the slides, just that I mentioned briefly in the select board meeting. So I have lofty goals here, right? Like, and one of them is I think that we have several department heads that have, you know, not always been given all the right tools in their toolbox to do their job, or maybe the right information or knowledge or training or education. And I want to help guide them to help them understand their financial responsibilities, right? Where they stop and I start, right? Because right now that line's too far, right? I'm doing far more than I need to be doing or should be doing on their side. And I need to, in order to do that though, I have to be willing to sit down with them and give them the tools that they've never been given. So next week, actually on the 18th, I'm starting my first training course with the department heads to start to establish that. I've already written 7 other classes that we're going to have over time. These are things that I want them to understand, not how to be a finance director, not how to be an accountant, but how to do their job so that it meets the need of us, one team, one dream, marching all in the same direction and meeting our fiduciary responsibilities all day, every day, right? Hand in hand. So this is very important to me, structurally, you know, strategically, and teamwork, bringing us, break down walls, tear down those silos, you know, and working together. So I'm excited.
I'm excited.
So would
Okay.
this be our largest revolving fund now? This level?
Yes.
Okay. And then is there a dollar amount where it stops being revolving fund and it becomes something else?
Not as long as it's supported.
Okay.
If the cash supports it and the program fees support it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think going back to Dana's point, we'll have a
Pardon?
larger
Are
conversation.
you ready for a motion?
Are you done?
Yeah, I just,
Yeah.
this is the form, which is basically on the screen. I filled it all out with all the information, as we've
Yeah.
discussed.
Yeah.
It has lines for signatures.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only thing that I will say is, you know, in lieu of making the decision to sign this and move this cap up, that basically that is gonna stop our recreation program from moving forward.
Right, which you have done
I've stopped
currently.
it temporarily,
Yeah,
but not moving forward with this would stop it for the year.
that's right. Okay.
I had a question.
I have a question too.
Yeah, Dana?
Dana, you had a question?
Yeah, I guess, my question would, at this point would be, so the recreation, there's no number, as Mark just asked, that stops the revolving fund from growing. What, as a town, do we say in terms of stopping, you know, what limits are we considering to say, okay, we can't have a $2 million recreation revolving fund with 50 people that are all doing this, that, and the other thing, with the funds coming, even though the funds support it, at some point, it becomes so cumbersome that we can't keep up with it. I mean, what kind of discussions, as far as harnesses go, are we having?
Well, I think that's the conversation we need to have over the next year, Dana. I think the best approach is to work towards having, being all on the same page as we create FY28, so that we know what programs we want to fund through revolving, what programs we want to fund through the general fund, and what we're looking for those programs to be across the different revolving funds we have.
So Dana, I would
Right
just,
now,
I would just
right
add
now-
to that, Dana. Dana, I would add to that and say, this is the first time in my experience here that we actually have some folks that are interested in helping solve this problem. And I think,
right,
with us
That's
having,
exciting.
us having a seat or two at the table to be part of that team is a huge move forward.
Yeah, because it may be, Dana, that in 8 months from now, we have a different feeling as a group collectively. And I don't know what the right number is, whether it's 400, 300, 800, you know, we're gonna work together as a group to get to that point.
but we're talking about right now, the current budget, 26, bringing that to 400,000
Correct,
and automatically saying that next year is 400,000?
correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think what I'm saying, that's why I said, let's focus on FY '28 as a group, as an organization.
Okay,
As a point of clarification, there's usually a standard article that addresses the limits on all
Yeah.
revolving funds, so I would expect this one would show up in this.
Correct.
That is correct.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying let's focus on FY
And it's gonna
'28
be
for the
better laid
collective.
out in the
That makes
warrant than it
sense.
has been in the
Yeah.
past.
Yeah, I looked at the warrant,
That's
and
all.
the warrant didn't say what the amount was, it just said what the cap was, so you
Yeah,
know that.
yeah.
The cap, yeah. that
Or
was
who
all
the
about.
authority was, or
The
who,
ca- the
there's
cap
a lot
will
of
be
things
400.
missing.
Yeah.
For FY '27.
I have one question. How'd you come up with 400?
That's a good question. So, the two of us combined went at it from different directions. So
Mhm.
what I did is I did, a 3-year and 5-year historical analysis, drew trend lines, established a high-low range based on historical analysis. I came for fiscal '26 to, 330 to 380
Yeah.
was my statistical range. For fiscal '26. For fiscal '27, it was higher. And Eric put actually a little more pen to paper and said, well, what are we looking to expand based on, and what do we have right now?
Okay.
And
Yep.
and we came to that number based upon the two of those things together.
Got it.
Yeah, we estimated, like I estimated things, one big thing is like this year, we're gonna expand our summer camp program, which is great for the working families in town and the kids. So we're gonna take double the amount of kids, which also requires some more staff. So, the money coming in, we're also gonna be spending more. So that's one of the many things that
Got it.
They're
factor.
all part-time staff, right?
Yeah.
Well, they're seasonal.
They're revolving fund staff, because that's a revolving fund program.
Yeah.
They can be, I think the distinction being that they are wages that can be charged to a revolving fund, as opposed to wages that are expected to be not charged to a revolving
Right,
fund,
right,
from a statutory standpoint.
right.
So with
Yes.
that, Mr. Chairman, I would move that we,
I think Dana had a question, maybe.
You still
Yeah,
got another
right.
question, Dana?
He raised his hand.
Oh, there it is.
yeah, that was just about that particular point, and that the statute does say, no full-time employees.
Yeah, so
And it
Correct.
discourages even part-time employees. I mean, it's,
Coaches,
how fast,
coaches
how
and,
fast, and I'm not
Yeah.
just picking on recreation, but in general, we have the whole list of all the revolving accounts that are doing things. We've been talking specifically a lot about 204 Sisson, another one that is just not right now compared to what other buildings are budgeted at. More discussion there, and I'm just wondering how big can all these departments, they're outpacing the support system that we have to support them.
well, that goes back to my point, Dana, is we're not gonna grow without a conversation,
Okay,
okay? That's really all I can commit to, is that we're not gonna grow without a
Okay.
conversation, so.
all right. I'm in.
Okay, let's get back to, have you made your motion?
no, I haven't, but I would make a motion.
Okay.
Um,
Mr. Hughes is making a motion.
I will second Mr. Hughes's.
let me make
Well,
it.
Let him make it first.
See how we get in trouble?
Mhm.
So I would make a motion that we authorize increasing the rec and youth revolving fund spending limit or cap to $400,000.
I will
We need a
second that
second.
motion.
Okay, and Mark Ramirez has seconded that motion. Further discussion on this topic?
Dana has a question.
Dana?
And that's just to clarify, Peter, you meant for 2026 and 2027?
No, I don't think so, because 2027 is gonna be in the warrant.
Yeah, you guys will vote an article.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll vote it as an article, right?
Yeah, correct.
It's just our
That's why,
intention.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
why I
yeah.
asked. So-
Yeah,
So we're talking right now on this motion to
26.
fix this year's.
now till June 30th, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good, I'm in.
I believe that's, at least that was also my reading of the statute, that basically any increase done by the select board and the finance committee only lasts till
The end of
the
that
town,
fiscal
till
year.
town
Correct.
meeting.
And this form designates it's for only fiscal year
Right.
'26.
Okay, any other discussion? Seeing none, I will do a roll call vote on this, and you get the seat again, Michelle.
Aye.
Aye from Michelle.
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Mark, Tina, Scott,
Aye.
Dana,
Aye.
Mark Peterson,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. That again is 8-0 in support of your
Thank you.
request.
Thank you. Can you pass that down?
Yep.
So get out the baseballs tomorrow morning. In the snow.
Yeah, right.
But you're gonna need DPW to come over and plow it.
Yeah, we'll keep going. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Nice to
Eric,
meet
for
you.
your good work.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jen.
Never come
Thank
back
you.
again.
No, never.
Never.
You'll never see
No,
me.
come see me though.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Oh, approved by vote of Finance Committee on, this is what, the 12th? 12th?
I appreciate that vote. I understand the agita associated with revolving funds. It's been very clearly brought to my attention over the last month. And so this is a hard one for you guys to swallow, but we'll work together to try to figure out the best path forward for the town.
And again, the best thing is flow of information, which
Yeah.
is sorely lacking the last couple of years.
Well, if we're here,
Yeah.
that should help.
Yeah, no, I know. it
Yes.
should,
And I know, Mr. Chairman, I know that financially, we can't, you have to put the money in up front before you can start collecting the money into the town
This goes
fund.
with it too.
And I know we
You
can't
got
do
a,
all
you
the
got a clip,
things
you got a
we
paper
want.
clip too. Yeah, it needs,
got a paper clip. Oh,
needs
right.
all our signatures.
Does.
I think we all
And
have
Jen
to sign
can't
it.
do all of this overnight, but
Right.
obviously I think from the presentation you just saw, that's the type of work that I would assume the town of Harwich is looking for moving forward.
Well reasoned and documented and clearly understandable. Perfect.
Yes. Well done.
Yes, she did a great job with that presentation.
Thank you. It was,
I think on one of the programs that they
It
run
looked good.
in Sisson Road, that they have a fee that includes $5. Each part of the fee goes to the general fund. And I didn't know if that was something that could be done on more fees.
we can talk
Certainly
about
something that we can look into, and I think that goes to the conversation, I don't know when the right time to
Yeah.
have the conversation about 204 is, I don't know,
It's on
I
the
think we have it
Chairs.
on the agenda.
is it appropriate to jump
Yeah.
into that, or?
Yeah, because we got that really bad article.
Sure.
Oh, so,
They have a couple of agenda items before that.
Okay.
Yep, it's on the
Take
agenda.
it out of order.
Hmm?
I think,
Can we amend the order?
can
to-
we take something out of order?
Do you mind if we jump into the conversation on 204, just because it's appropriate based on where we're at right now? or would you
Yes,
rather-
I would like to do that. The only thing we have in between is voting the minutes, which we can also put off if we
So moved.
get tired.
For the minutes, we can just move it. Takes 10 seconds for the minutes.
Okay.
So moved?
Second on the minutes
I'll second.
from 1:15. Any discussion on the minutes from 1:15? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes of January 15th?
Aye.
Aye.
On the screen, aye. Okay, 8-0.
Unanimous.
Unanimous.
Can
Okay,
you note that they're electronic?
now we can go on to,
Enough signatures for you?
Um,
It's a quorum.
yeah, that's probably fine.
We have 5 signatures. I'm
Yeah.
just making sure they're legitimate.
Oh, yeah.
5 signatures, but we had 3 more here, but.
yes, I don't know,
I think,
I-
well,
I-
five's a quorum. so
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
should-
Quorum.
Yeah.
We could send it on DocuSign tomorrow.
Oh, that's an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
you
want to
guys-
make sure you're.
Do you have access to DocuSign where you are? If we
Well,
send
we
you,
You send an email, you click
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah, we can send them an email and they can just click on it and sign it.
see if you
Perfect.
can do that. I mean, it's
Yes.
good to have 5 of us here
Yep, I'll send
anyway,
it tomorrow.
but terrific.
For the
And
record.
I'll be around town Monday.
Oh,
great.
I thought you were coming home tomorrow.
Yeah, but I'll be back.
He's home, not around.
You're not gonna come right here immediately?
Oh, wait, we're having a big Valentine's Day party at your house. Wait, we're having a big Valentine's Day party at your house, so are you coming on the party, or do I have to delay it till Monday?
We'll be here tomorrow night, but it'll be late.
Okay.
We'll wait for you, Dana.
Don't call me.
You'll be sleeping.
maybe.
Okay, and I think the topic that we want to deal with is this article that has been submitted, but we have not had, it came up during the interim between meetings, and this is our opportunity to discuss and vote on this article that was drafted, brought forth by Mr. Hughes and drafted by him, and to the extent that aware, it still it as submitted reads the same way that I submitted it to town administration. And I will read it for conversation. See, if the town will vote to approve the use of up to $10,000 from free cash to retain the services of a forensic accountant to review the operating expense history and revolving account historic balances associated with 204 Sisson Road Municipal Building, and to act fully thereon. Said funds to be spent at the direction of the Finance Committee. Estimated cost is $10,000 to be funded from free cash. Explanation. As identified in the Finance Committee report on the finances of 204 Sisson Road submitted to the Select Board in August 2024, there is incomplete operating expense data to support the 204 Sisson Road Municipal Building revolving account balances. The Finance Committee suggests the balances have been historically overstated. Since 2018, under a Select Board policy, the operating expenses of 204 Sisson Road have been accounted for in a designated revolving fund. This may have been appropriate during the early years of the town's assumption of the property as a result of the formation of the regional school district. However, we now have a clear and relatively consistent set of revenues and expenses for this building. Per Mass Department of Revenue guidelines and a subsequent opinion obtained by the Finance Committee, building expenses are not an appropriate use of the revolving fund. The 204 Sisson Road property should be treated like the community center, which has an operating budget and a revolving account for specific expenses of programs and activities, and their associated fees, and not building expenses such as gas, electric, water, etc. The Forensic Accounting Services will search for, review, and report the historically missing expense data for this facility. A report will be generated which clearly defines the revenues and expenses for 204 Sisson Road from 2018 to present. This information will set the record straight as to the cost of operating this facility. That's the as far as I know, the current submitted wording. First, I guess, so that we can do this strictly, I'd like to have a motion with regard to the article, and at which point we can then have open discussion on the article and how people feel about it, including having the ability to have additional comment from town management. So,
Can we have a general discussion first?
first, we can, if people feel better having a general discussion first.
There's a lot here.
Okay, no negative feedback, so let's have a general discussion
Okay,
first.
so because, Mr. Chairman, I take full responsibility for initiating that, writing that. Just to be clear, I think that was done two weeks ago, something like that. I asked you for a placeholder. We have not discussed it at all here, other than we've talked about 204 Sisson Road on an item. Tomorrow is a deadline for getting completed articles submitted. And this was one way, since the selectmen and the town administrator previously, in my opinion, have stonewalled us on trying to get this information. This goes back to the summer of 2024, with lots of promises along the way that we're going to do that. And as a matter of fact, if you look at last year's warrant, Article 4 for the budget, we had an explanation this long, which is about that explanation, talking about this should be in the budget. And when we also got to revolving funds, we had a similar write-up there, although we supported at the last minute both of them just to keep peace and harmony with promises that it was gonna get resolved. To my knowledge, it's not in the budget. Maybe it is, we haven't looked tonight, maybe it is. Has not been resolved. And I know, Joe, when you met us last month, you said, yep, you were gonna work on this, but it was obvious you had a whole bunch of stuff to do. I think before we decide to go forward with this, just like we've heard with the revolving funds, if we can have some assurance, at least for me, I'm not talking for you folks, if we can have some assurance that this is actually gonna get resolved, looked into and resolved, then I'm okay with that. If we have to live with it for another year until it gets resolved, because we have a new team in place, I want them to have every opportunity, but we are up against this deadline tomorrow. So that's the discussion. And quite frankly, if I hear, reasonable stuff here and, gonna go forward and try and resolve it, then I think I'm comfortable with that, quite frankly. And I don't think we have a need to do that, but that's where I am.
Do you mind if I just jump in on that?
Sure, yep.
So I think I've had lots of conversations with Jen about this today and, over the last week. And honestly, I've heard a ton about this, like I said, over the last month since I was appointed into the role. And there is absolutely zero stress from either one of us about anything related to this article other than one piece. Please just let Jen do it, because she is like rip-roaring, ready to go on all this work and just needs a little bit of time to be able to set her mind straight and work towards this common goal. So like, we want to do everything that you're looking for here because this is exciting work for us and needs to be done for the town, but we don't need an outside person to help us with it. We have a very capable, as you saw tonight with the presentation, I think what you're looking for is basically a ramped up version of what you got tonight for recreation for 204. And she's ready to do that.
It's
And,
already happening.
Yeah, she's ready to do that. It's already happening, like you said. And I just, she's an amazing asset to the town that we need to take full advantage of.
So and I'm happy with that,
Yeah.
quite frankly, and we wouldn't need the article in
Because
that-
there's
in that
no
case.
there's no drama for us around what you're looking for.
No, I
And I'm
understand.
gonna be honest with you, if there's rats, we're gonna all talk about it, right? Like, I don't wanna move forward with something that's not lawful or
Yeah,
correct.
okay, so just so we're clear, I'm assuming there's no 204 in this budget other than the.
Other than the revolving fund, that's correct.
No, but other than the cultural directors in there,
Yes, correct.
which is not something we're looking to get as part of a budget for that building. In other words, we're happy having her just the way she is now in the budget.
Correct.
Correct.
So the question becomes, when you go through this, and I assume you're not gonna get to it between now and town meeting, I'm just assuming.
You might be surprised. But we'll
Okay,
see.
but is there an opportunity if the work is fruitful, that there could be an amendment to the budget to get it in the budget for this year, coming year?
I mean, I'm gonna say from a high level, probably that's a challenge because of where we
Yeah.
are in the budget process. And I hate to once again say, let's work together towards FY28, but what you're asking, let her do the forensic piece on the accounting. And then if there's time for us to pivot on FY27, I'm open to that conversation. But I think realistically, being that it's mid-February and we're sitting here and I don't even work for the town yet, probably there's a pretty good chance we're talking about if we're gonna incorporate 204 system into the general fund, in a substantial amount of way, we're probably talking FY28 would be realistic.
And what I will add to that is that obviously I already have some questions about some items, right? Like, is there a chance that we find that there should have been some allocation, right, of some portion of expenditures that should have been redirected? I think that there can be a conversation about some adaptation, should I say, as we go. But a large, broad change, probably
Yeah,
more difficult.
Yeah, but that said, if there's a small change that she finds very quickly over the next, month here, then we can pivot and put that in FY27.
Okay, to me, the biggest nugget there is, and Scott Norman's the one that dealt with Department of Revenue, and he investigated it, you can talk to him directly, but when they said to us, you cannot operate a municipal building on a revolving fund, because you should not be paying utilities in particular out of a revolving fund for a building.
It's not completely accurate. So partially, yes, right? You should absolutely not be operating a building on a revolving fund. That is correct. But if that building is being used for programmatic, community, artist retreat spaces, so on and so forth, there is specific statutory language that does support revolving funds for those purposes. So when I say to you that there's some questions I have, which are outstanding with DLS law currently, right, is we also have a portion of the building that is dedicated to municipal use, which should be covered and paid by the general fund, right? But there can be an allocation of those expenditures that is, whether on a percentage basis, by square footage, you know, there's a multitude of ways that we can talk about once I have all the inputs,
Yeah,
right? And can make a,
Yeah, because our view of it was basically with the studios, we're a landlord. And we're collecting rents, and those people are doing whatever they do, the various things in those different studios. And that rent, in our opinion, should be going into the general fund. And expenses for those, which are the gas, electric, and all that, should be in a budget.
Well, I
Right.
mean, it would seem like the best approach in my mind from an outsider that's just looking at this for the first time here would be let her do the forensic piece to try to figure this out, and then we get together as a group and say, all right, this is what the facts told us, this is the best way to move forward, you know? And I don't know whether we can get there for FY27, only because of timing, not because,
Well,
no reluctance around changing
No, but
it.
quite frankly, I mean, we're gonna put our faith in you guys are gonna get it done. I mean,
Yeah.
whenever that timing is, in my opinion.
and as much as I said that I like, in 1 second, that I like revolving funds, and when they're managed well, they're a good tool. They're a good tool when they're used lawfully, right? Like, so just to kind of support that, I don't like revolving funds for revolving funds' sake, right?
No.
Like, when they're used appropriately, lawfully, for the right purposes, and managed well, I like revolving funds.
Because I'm pretty sure Jen and I as a team would have no reluctancy about putting it in the general fund.
None whatsoever,
No
if that's the
reluctance.
right way.
Yeah, I mean, what is the problem with doing that? It's just we gotta figure out what's lawful and what's not and separate the two.
You know, I would just say, this is just my opinion. Only my opinion, we haven't talked about this, but some of the reluctance, I think, about putting in the budget and trying to actually figure out what this is, had to do with, when you really look at it, the rents, from what I saw, were about 92 or 95% of the revenue in that building. And that the rents, based on the numbers and projections we had, weren't sufficient to cover the cost of running the place. And so the rents should be increased somewhat, whatever that is. Could be 5%, 10%, 40%, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think it was trying to be masked, so we ignored it. Quite frankly.
But didn't that go, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't that because when we voted on that building, and this predates me, that it was supposed to be a self-funded operation? The rents were supposed to cover the expenses.
If you go back to, and don't hold me to this, I think it's the last article, it was a petition article in the 2022 annual town meeting. There was a petition article to do a marketing study. Your wife was involved with
Actually,
Funny
Yeah.
thing about
that
that.
had something like, I'm making
Yeah.
a number up, $100,000 or 125, some number to do a marketing study with the intent of making that place neutral, money-wise.
Yeah.
A lot of discussion. The article passed with no money because the selectmen said, and by the way, at that time we agreed, we folded. The selectmen said they would get that done and make that happen. So the question, and by the way, we had asked that question of the Board of Selectmen to get a ruling from town council, and they have not done it, to my knowledge, and asked them to go to town council and said, okay, that article, petition article, it passed with no money, do the words still mean something?
Right.
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, I don't
The
either.
history's there.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
2022.
Well, it's a very checkered history
Right.
of articles
It's the very
and
last one.
and
Dana
discussions.
has his hand, or Scott, sorry.
Let's go on with conversation.
Their hands up.
I'm done.
Scott, you're first.
It's been a while since, August 2024, but I worked with Peter to research with DOR. But the thing that I remember,
Dana, you might wanna, oh, there we go.
Somebody's
Can you
gotta
mute Dana
mute.
while Scott's talking?
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
There we go.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, we can hear you.
No, the thing that I remember about the research with DOR about revolving funds is that once an activity is stable, and the revenues are predictable, there really isn't a need to have the activity in the revolving fund anymore. I mean, recreation is a perfect example of how the level of activity, the variety of programs changes, and that's the perfect use for a revolving fund. This facility is funded with rents that are quite stable. Occupancy is near 100%. There's a wait list for new tenants. So that was the key characteristic of the 204 that led me to believe that it just wasn't appropriate anymore to have it, go off revolving fund. But I know that's for analysis later on, and I just want to echo what's been said before about how I have great confidence that this issue is going to be fully analyzed and resolved with the new team.
Yeah, and
Thank you, Scott.
I think
Thank
the main takeaway that you should hear from us is we have no reluctance have it in the general fund either.
No.
I think we want to have a conversation about where it best belongs. Once we've had a chance to do a little forensic audit on it, but if it ends up in the general fund, we don't care. As long as it's covering the costs as close as it can, that's an operational question. That has nothing to do with whether or not it's in the general fund or not.
And we can talk about the pros and
Yeah.
cons and,
But there's no reluctance from this team's side of the table on moving it into the general fund, if that's what we collectively as a group all think that it best belongs.
I just had one more question, to your point. So are you saying that there could be under the law, I know you don't know yet, but that because these are run like little businesses within that building, that some of the electricity or the heat could be allocated to that little
it
business?
could be.
That's what I'm,
Or not allocated to that business, but allocated to the revolving fund.
related to that, yes,
to that
that's what
business,
she's,
yes.
yeah.
Right.
And the portion that.
Isn't.
Whatever, by square footage, percentage
Yeah.
of space that's
Right.
municipal
Yeah.
use to the general fund. Like
Yes.
there's a lot of scenarios that right now, again, I don't have the numbers or
Right.
to drill down on, but it's a possibility.
Got
Right, and the other piece to that that's important is we also don't want to set up a structurally impossible thing to deal with, where we have
Correct.
87% of it over here and 30, percent of it over there.
Yeah.
Like whatever we get to at the end of the day, we want to make the most sense and be the simplest to operate
Yep.
too, so.
And this is a little convoluted, it's not straightforward. You can't just read the language of the law and say, this is what, this is good,
Yeah.
right? So it takes a little bit more research. I think that the thing that stands out to me the most when I think about this is you can't just say it's all revolving fund because you own the building and the building has these expenditures. You have to more look at it would that expenditure exist if that program ceased to exist, right? And that's more where the important piece of the analysis of this rests, right? If these artists no longer were here, would our electricity still be as high, right?
Yep.
So there is support subjectively a bit to the language as it exists to say to you, yes, possibly, right? But again, I have to do that legwork.
Yeah.
And another part of it is just going back historically, and that's mainly what that proposed article was doing, was saying the record straight, just like you do with our friends at Youth and Rec, to show the history of that revolving fund, because in my opinion, if you plug in numbers, guesstimates, you're gonna find that it actually went negative a couple of times.
The 204 system?
We may
We'll
find
find
it.
out.
No, I know, but I'm just,
Yeah.
Yeah, so the good news is we have no reluctance to anything you guys want to do. We're totally on board with it. We just want to do it. Because, for the main reason that this is what we do and this is what we love.
Yeah.
So-
No, we
A
like
little
that.
bit of a geek about this stuff if you haven't figured it out yet, and I have a bit of an attack dog mentality.
Yeah.
So it's very important to me that we do it right.
So, Mr. Chairman, if we have a consensus to just avoid that article, I mean, we haven't actually voted to accept or deny it or whatever, and it's not brought before us other than I gave it to you.
No, it's,
So
but
I-
it has been submitted
Oh,
to,
okay, the whole thing?
Well,
yeah, the article as it stands.
All right.
I had to get it submitted.
Okay, all right, I thought you just put it in the title.
No, I put in the article,
All right, so
but I could, but we,
if you're ready, I'll make a motion that we withdraw that article.
that's what I'm looking for. Do we have a
I'll
second?
that motion.
Okay.
Throw the argument.
Is there any further discussion on this? Okay, to reiterate the motion is to what are we're getting?
Dana, we can hear
Dana,
your
we need
TV
to,
set.
yeah, there we go. Yeah,
The-
thank you, Dana.
The motion is to withdraw the article that has been submitted asking for forensic accounting to be done on the 204 Sisson Road property. And we'll do a roll call vote on that motion. Michelle,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Tina,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Dana,
It's got-
Aye.
Mark Peterson,
Aye.
and I'm an aye,
Now I
so
ask the chair to hang on to that article just in case we need it next year.
I will.
I promise you won't. I promise you won't, because
got
otherwise
your
it's gonna be
attention.
awfully awkward
already
for us
had it.
sitting here.
That's the
Yes,
thing.
and we saved $10,000.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, you can pay it to me in a stipend.
Oh,
when I
there you
finish
go.
If you want.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Well,
use it for
There's
something
a
else.
selectman that lived through all this crap the last couple of years and he was over here.
There was at least with, especially after Bundy's presentation, at least the mental thing as to whether having a little pot of money over here to use if you needed to have an extra set of hands to help might have not been the worst thing in the world
You
either.
always come to reserve fund, right?
Right.
That's right.
And I don't, and there's definitely a train of thought where, like, obviously she could use some help with things, but this is something she's passionate about and really wants to work on. And I think this, like, we're both new. Like, we want to do this work together as a team, not have somebody else do it for us, you know? Like, we want to prove to you guys that we're good at our jobs. It's
Yep.
Well, listen, Jay and I have hit the ground running, right? Like, we've had breakfast together. Like, we've gone out to breakfast together and sat and talked about this work and how important it is to both of us. It's
Yeah.
not just here, when we're here and now, and we're committed. Like,
Yeah.
and we both want to be here till we retire, like, and make a difference.
So let us wow you.
Yeah.
There are times we need to tell the select board to not keep telling us not to overwhelm Jennifer.
Well, I mean, there's a lot going on right now.
That's right.
There is. I've been here for 2 months, as a reminder.
And that's a fair point, but this is something she wants to take on.
I do.
Yep.
I do.
So let's,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I think that's all we needed your additional input on.
Awesome.
Of what we're
Thank you.
doing.
Very
Thank
much.
you guys very much.
Thank you.
Hope
Thank
you
you.
go home at some point.
Yeah.
I mean,
Eventually. I think I remember where I live.
You need a self-driving car,
I do.
then you can work in.
Or a
the
driver. I just
Yeah,
need a
there you go,
driver.
there you go. We'll get the police to take them.
There we go, that works.
No, the highway department want to plow to take them.
Sounds good.
Well, looking forward to working with you.
Looking
Same.
forward to working
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah,
Tony. Glad I
same.
came out. I'll try to come next Thursday as well. I
It's
should be
going
able
to
to.
be very professionally stimulating, I can tell that. It's just,
Yeah,
That'd
thank
be
you.
We're
Yep.
moving in a new
You
direction.
told me way
Yeah.
back
Oh,
when.
yeah, they do.
well, in the right direction.
And for
Yeah.
2 months, thank you. You've
2
made
months.
just a
Yeah,
really
no,
big
I have.
dent.
And just imagine what's
Yeah.
next.
Oh, gosh, I
Yeah.
can't wait.
Just imagine.
Mm-hmm. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks, guys. Are you gonna, do you want to
I
stay?
don't, is there anything else on the agenda? Are you guys done?
I think we're good. We need
There's
anything
nothing,
else?
we have conversation, but
Okay.
we don't,
I think we're good.
Yeah.
I
I
think,
will take
You're
off.
welcome to stay,
Yeah.
but, yeah.
yeah, exactly, you know, if you,
I would
I'll
respect you more if
stay.
you
I'll
went
stay.
home.
So
That's all right.
when is your
I'm trying to get to know you guys,
You know,
so I'm
this-
gonna stay if you
So
don't.
when
Okay.
is your official start date?
I don't know.
It's like
Oh,
this-
okay.
March
I'm gonna
16th.
stay too.
March
Oh,
16th.
Oh, right before St. Patrick's
Okay.
Day.
All right.
I'm gonna
There's-
stay.
there's
if
no
you're
football.
staying.
Oh, okay, well, just pull it back.
Let's all go
Never
home
mind.
because they're gonna stay
Yeah,
here.
yeah, let's
No,
go.
I-
Yeah, well,
I'm
we'll
good.
get through it. Looks
Okay.
like we've
So
made
what's
our
next?
way through a
The
lot of
best way
this.
for me to get to know you guys is to be with you,
Absolutely.
so.
Okay,
Yeah, mark that
the only item actually left as far as, and, on the agenda is additional planning relative to, the next 6 weeks or whatever.
So we have the schools, right? What date is it?
We have the schools
week.
next week.
Thursday, we have the tech coming at 6:15.
Even though it's school vacation week?
It is,
Okay.
we're gonna hear from the
Okay.
superintendents, the
Good.
business managers are on holiday break out of the country. So we'll hear
Mhm.
from Superintendent Sanborn at 6:15 and Superintendent Carpenter at 7.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll have both schools next week,
Carpenter is Monomoy.
yes.
And we have scheduled, the Water Wastewater Commission Chair for the following Thursday, the 26th,
Okay.
and the DPW Director for the 26th,
Those two on the same night.
too.
Yeah.
And I haven't gone out beyond that, looking for guidance
Okay,
on
yeah.
other departments we would
After
like.
tomorrow, you know what the petition articles will be, right?
Correct.
Should, yeah, I mean, I may not, but the town will.
No, but I mean, it should be,
Yes, we'll have
Listening,
them. We'll
right?
have them after.
Right, yes.
so
Tomorrow's the
we,
deadline.
we should figure out some night we drag all those people in.
Right, yep.
That's usually a painful.
It'll be in the Monday
Let,
packet.
let me,
I'm not sure, but they'll be available after tomorrow.
let me stay with departments first in terms of what people think beyond what they just heard, what other departments they would like to have come and speak with us. I would assume the safety departments, but
Well, my opinion of it,
yes.
when I first saw your first presentation on the budget, and I've said this before, it's so comprehensive and well done and well documented. And the fact that we only have, I don't know, 0.2% of an extra body or something like, some really small number. I personally don't feel the need to have to go through every department and look at these things. I would much rather have a time, again, where these two individuals come in and actually present the budget to us
Mhm.
as it exists maybe in a couple weeks. And I think that would be far more informative than saying, you know, we need the fire chief or the police chief, because I don't see the body counts changing, and that's what usually counts, you know.
There's a lot of money changing on the salary line.
Well, I understand that, but I
Okay.
think we have the answers. I mean,
Yeah. We'd be happy to do that.
Well, that's why I'm asking, and I can also cancel Link. I mean, he'd be perfectly
Cancel
happy
what?
not, cancel Link Cooper, he'd be perfectly happy not to come in, I'm sure.
much rather, I mean, if you could get them in here that night, I mean, that'd be,
That would be a better night. I'm traveling, there's 2 Thursdays I won't be available, like, I don't know, the 5th and the 12th. And
That's March.
so if we could
Of
do it,
March,
yeah, the
okay.
5th and the 12th I won't be available, so if we could do it either that last, what is it, the
26th
the 26th?
of February.
Yeah, would that work for you, John?
I'll
yeah.
watch the video.
Would you still like the water commissioner to come in?
yeah,
Yeah.
it would, but that can be 45 minutes, you know.
Yeah, right,
You know.
okay.
Is that okay, John?
Um,
I'm just checking.
But-
That's just my preference, I
Yeah,
mean,
well, that's what I wanna, other people have points of view with regard to department asking in, requesting department heads to come in.
Yeah, I'm happy watching the select board meetings when they
Yeah.
present to them.
Yeah, I can do that too, actually. I tend
Michelle?
to watch them anyway.
Anybody on remote there that has a comment with regard to whether or not we have additional department heads come to our meetings to discuss their departmental budgets? Peter has expressed, and the people here would be happy with getting additional budgetary input from management.
I agree with that. And one area that I would love to be reassured on is the other receipts budgeted for fiscal '27. Just would like to see a little bit more of the backup for some of those large increases. I think around
Local receipts?
10% increase,
Yep.
local receipts.
Yep.
Yeah,
I can tell you all about it.
right,
Good.
thank you.
And, you know, so if we present the budget to you guys on that night, and then you feel differently and you wanna hear from some department heads
Okay.
after
That
that.
makes sense.
Yeah, but that'll give us time,
Yeah.
because
That
we
makes
get
sense.
you in early, you know. We'll have some
100%.
time if we have some details.
Okay, then I think we will go with that idea. Again, Noreen is planning on coming in on the
That's fine.
beginning of so we'll schedule her first,
On the 26th.
on the 26th.
So, I won't be here, but I'll watch the video on the 26th.
It'll be entertaining,
Yeah,
I'm
I'll get some
sure.
popcorn.
And otherwise, I'll actually tell Link that he can not have to spend his evening here. I'm sure he'll be thrilled.
You have to bring up popcorn. I'm gonna bring popcorn here.
Oh, and I'll miss the popcorn.
When are they going to present the budget?
On the
26th.
26th of February, yeah.
February 26th.
Mr. Chair, for the school superintendents, where are we meeting next week? I need to get back to them.
We're meeting at the community
Community
center
center, okay, I'll follow up and tell them.
studio.
And if you wanna
Okay.
talk about it, I can tell you just what I know,
No,
but,
but Noreen will be here that night, that's
Yeah.
what I'm trying
so they have negative retained earnings right now. So when I came in 2 months
to,
ago.
I'm sorry to.
Right, just to give background on what I know right now, I'll say that, right? The push was to get free cash certified, right? So I had to take a book of numbers that I didn't own and didn't ever look at and put them into the DLS system to generate
Yep.
certified free cash.
Yep.
What happened in that process is those numbers generated a negative retained earnings in the wastewater stabilization fund. So let me give you what I know now. It's not gonna be a full answer, Noreen's very aware of this. So there was a deficit in a capital project fund, okay? In that capital project fund, in the history of it in the DLS system, it's been coded as a wastewater phase 2 capital project fund.
Mhm.
It had a deficit balance, which hits your retained earnings. So they negated their retained earnings by that deficit,
Yeah.
which threw them from positive
Yeah.
into negative, about to the tune of about $70,000 on their retained earnings. So what I have found thus far, is that it doesn't appear that there have been any reconciliations of these capital project funds over the years. And within it is a conglomeration of a variety of projects, including wastewater projects, but also including various town projects. So at some point, some project that's conglomerated in that fund, which could be wastewater or could not be wastewater, overexpended their project allowance.
Yep.
And it hit, because of the fast nature in which we were putting all of this through, it hit the retained earnings for wastewater. Now, if I get to a point where I can finish the full reconciliation of that, again, these are big projects. This is pulling a large history of data and going backwards and coming back forward. Learning information along the way about things that changed or happened and pulling town warrants, and it's a whole lot of research.
Yeah.
And so if I find that that was the fire station construction, which is in that capital project fund,
Yeah.
that overexpended their allowance, then we will recertify free cash if it's prior to the next certification, or it would be adjusted on the next year's consolidated balance sheet submission. So if it's a problem that doesn't belong in the wastewater stabilization, it will get resolved. I just need the time to do the back work.
Got it.
Okay.
You
But
work
we
on
gotta
the
do the 204 Sisson forensic audit.
Yeah.
Well, you know, there is.
And about a
there is-
million other things
wait,
just like
There is
that.
a water
Do the
meter at
presentation
204
on the
system.
20
There is a water meter there.
It's called forensic research.
Yes.
Get your gloves on.
Welcome
Oh,
to
believe
Harwich.
me.
Welcome to Harwich.
Done a lot of it in my career, so.
You're saying all the right words to us tonight.
At
so-
some point in history, somebody explained to me a computer software term in terms of programs in a computer, and the term they used was infinite deprioritization.
That sounds like a word that Jen is very familiar with. It's all important and it's all gonna get accomplished. It's just gonna take time.
Yeah. The only other thing, I guess, is just a comment. I do have confirmation from Natasha, I guess, that of her being on plan to send to us articles as soon as they're available to send to us, and she knows our schedule.
Yeah, and she's been emailing me about those as well. She's she's doing a great job staying on top of all of those.
Absolutely.
So hopefully they will come in groups that we can then handle efficiently and get discussed and voted on in a timely manner. I believe that that's all I have. Anyone have any other topics they would like to bring up this evening?
Move to adjourn.
Move.
Oh, Dan has hand up,
Dana has
always.
something?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do an update on all of our documents over the weekend, and I'll also start, based on the customary articles and so forth, putting forward our reasons for supporting these articles, so people can review the customary ones in advance.
Dan, I would reference or send you to the warrants from last year. We spent a lot of time putting all of those things together. I think some of them, the story hasn't changed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Dana.
I second the motion to adjourn.
Oh, was
I
there a
first the
motion?
motion to adjourn. No,
I
already
don't think
did.
there was, but you can make
Yes,
it.
there
I
is,
did.
there is a motion and
Oh, there
and a
is,
second.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The rest of you can stay
Aye,
here.
aye,
Thank you all,
aye.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.